Last night, we brought you the news about that stunning report about Bernie Sanders' aggressive push to nationalize most major industries while leading a far-left party in the 1970s. Bernie Sanders wanted the government to seize and control American companies, including energy, utility, and phone companies. This from the 2020 candidate who still will not denounce communist dictators, while he himself lives more like a capitalist. Well, the Republican National Committee took note. Here's spokesman Michael Aaron tweeting out this. If there were any doubt that Democrats are the party of socialism, their highest polling 2020 candidate has called for total government control of our country's industries. Let's get reaction from American Majority CEO Ned Ryan. Ned, first off, your reaction to that.
Well, I mean, they're exactly right, and good for the RNC for calling out Bernie Sanders, because he's not talking about just any kind of socialism, Liz. He's talking about the coercive kind when state-run production. This is very un-American, and this is something that, again, we need to be calling them out on. Again, we're seeing this play out in Venezuela. We are seeing a real-life experience right in front of us. You know, and the other thing I think, too, that people should be calling Bernie Sanders out for, again, he's not denouncing the Ortegas and the Castro brothers or Maduro. He's a communist sympathizer, and this is pretty staggering when you consider that among declared candidates, he is leading in the Democratic primary right now. Yeah,
he's described bread lines in Nicaragua as a, quote, good thing. He said that Castro transformed Cuba. Watch.
And everybody was totally convinced that Castro was the worst guy in the world, that all the Cuban people were going to rise up in rebellion against Fidel Castro. They had forgot that he educated their kids, gave them health care, totally transformed the society. You know, not to say that Fidel Castro or Cuba are perfect.
He said the word socialism doesn't scare me, and he said the Soviet Union has good cultural programs for the young. Your take?
Well, I mean, first of all, of course, Castro transformed Cuba. He destroyed it, all the while enriching himself. I think he was worth close to $1 billion when all was said and done, Liz. But again, we saw the Soviet Union collapse. If it was such a great experiment, why did it collapse? And again, we saw that collapse, you know, decades ago. This never works. I mean, this is the staggering part to me, really the hubris and the arrogance of the Bernie Sanders and the AOCs of the world, because they think that somehow, some way, they're smarter than everybody else, and that somehow state-run production, coercive socialism, will work because now they're in charge. And again, history is replete with that never happening.
Yeah, you know, the Clinton camp has said he loves to fly commercial. He only will fly private jets. He won't fly commercial. That's Bernie Sanders. The Sanders family just shut down a nonprofit that was founded by Sanders' wife, and it's run by his son. It's after escalating criticism because this nonprofit was blurring the lines between Sanders' family, between fundraising, between campaigning. It raised, you know, nearly $750,000 last year. Jane Sanders is worried. Bernie Sanders' wife is worried about the appearance of conflicts of interest. You got to know where all that money goes, right, Ned?
Well, yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I feel like I've heard this before somewhere, Liz, the blurring between family and campaign and politics. Oh, that's right, the Clinton Foundation, and not understanding where that ended and the State Department began. But people can get into serious trouble using nonprofit money for what it's not intended to be used for. And again, this isn't apples to apples, but we've seen Congressman Stockman and former Congresswoman Brown get nailed for charity fraud, and they're paying seven-figure fines, and they're going to jail. And maybe the Sanders have woken up to the fact that their last name isn't Clinton, and that people do get hit for these things. And so maybe in some ways it's really the right thing for them, because they're seeing the handwriting on the wall. The IRS is taking these things seriously and cracking down on people. The shame of it is, because I think the Clinton Foundation is a charity fraud, it would be nice if there was equal application of the law all the way around.
Ned Ryan, great to see you. Thank you so much for coming on. Come back soon.